Age of Empires 2. This is not a game. These are Trebuchet, onagers, scorpions, and rams, bored from pixels and reforged in plastic and grain, and resurrected for your desk. I made them, and now you can too.
承知。
You know, I've been playing Age of Empires 2 for many years now, and there's always been something I really wish for. Having a real siege unit right there on my desk. Something physical, something that felt like it just stepped out of the game. But no matter where I looked, I couldn't find one that was good looking, detailed, accessible, or even reproducible. I did come across a few wooden models like the ones made by H. of Menelik. Really impressive stuff. But here's the catch. Each piece was a standalone art project. Not to scale, not easy to replicate, and definitely not sustainable for mass production. It will require a lot of time just to make one unit. And you might be thinking, how do I know that? Well, I made one myself, that's how I know. And to be fair, there's something truly special about wood. The natural grain, the tones, the texture, it gives the siege unit this warm, handcrafted soul. When you hold it, it feels alive, almost like a medieval relic. But even with all that charm, it still wasn't scalable. Then one day, I stumbled into this meme from Adal Ramones. Many people want a cake, and life gives them flour, eggs, sugar, and even an oven. But they continue to suffer because life doesn't give them a cake. That hit me hard. I realized I had all the ingredients. I know how to design, I have it through the printer, so why was I waiting for someone to make these units? I sat down and designed the first prototype to scale. I opened up Fusion 360 and started working directly from the units in the game. I studied their silhouettes, matched their components, and followed the proportions straight from the game. Wheel sizes, frame height, axle spacing, everything was aligned using real in-game references. Every detail mattered. And this time, I wasn't just building something that looked close. I was creating something that felt like it belonged in the game's world. When it finally printed, I was really excited, until I saw it up close. It looked, well, like plastic. Of course, it was plastic. The whole thing was a single flat brown, no grain, no detail, just boxy, smooth, too clean, just like this area here. It looked like a toy, not a relic from the battlefield. The whole model had the smooth texture like I'm showing you here. I wish I still had the first version to show you, but between redesigns, reprints, and updates, it's long gone now. And of course, I didn't film it. Trust me though, it looked exactly like you would expect from a first draft. Technically correct, but soulless. And that's when it hit me. What I love about the wood models wasn't just the shape, it was the texture, the tones, the grain. That's what made it feel real. So I went back to the drawing board. I started adding artificial wood grain into the design, right into the model. I played with different tones of brown filament to mimic the natural texture of the wood, not just one color, multiple shades, to give it that real handcrafted feeling. But somewhere in the middle of all this, I accidentally messed up part of the G-code on one of the prints. What was supposed to be a smooth surface came out with this strange uneven lines like fracture edges or embedded plates. At first, I thought it was ruined. But when I looked closer, it actually looked amazing. It gave it a piece of raw, weathered feel, like metal that has been struck in battle. So I kept it. And now, those little happy accidents have become part of this design, like a forging scars that tell a story. At some point during the design phase, I had to make an executive decision. Not everything from the game translated well into the real world. For example, in the game, the entire base of the siege unit follows the player's color. But printing the whole base in bright green, red or purple, blue or whatever, it just looked off. So I made a call. I kept the base a rich wood tone and added a subtle color strip instead, to still show the player color without ruining the aesthetics. And there was a contrast. In my old wood model, the aluminum parts popped out beautifully. So I had to play around with filament colors, swapping dull browns to warm matte tones and introducing metallic finishes to make key parts stand out. I gave it everything a premium look, like real wood and forged iron coming together in miniature.
Later. Sasa.
Of course, it didn't stop there. After I locked down the look and feel, I had to make sure these units could be actually built by someone else. So I started redesigning parts, first to make assembly easier. I fine-tuned tolerances for friction fits where it made sense, and where it didn't, I planned for simply glue up. But printing was its own challenge. I had to simplify shapes, reduce supports, and make post-processing cleaner. And just when I thought I had everything figured out, I realized I needed to think about what happens after assembly too. What if something breaks? What if someone wants to fix or replace a part? So back to the drawing board again, this time for serviceability. But every time I tweak one piece to fit a mechanism or improve a function, it affected the surrounding parts. Everything had to be rebalanced. It became a constant cycle of adjust, test, repeat. A battle of iterations until everything finally clicked into place. Not perfect, but almost. And of course, I could ignore the soul of these siege units, their movement. No toys, not action figures, but they still had to feel alive, like in the game. So every design had to include space for mechanism, levers, tension points, pivot arms. Those subtle details will give each unit its personality. And once I finally finished one siege unit, I knew I couldn't stop there. I needed all of them, the full lineup. Every unit brought its own challenge. For the Scorpion, I hid a rubber band inside to give it that springy loaded tension, but the trick was making it invisible and still functional. And for the Trebuchet, I wanted it to actually assemble and disassemble, just like it does in the game. So I added some more parts, more joints, and more realism. And just as I was putting the final touches on these models, a new DLC dropped. New civs, new siege units, aside from the ones I missed. A whole new wave of inspiration and future builds. At first I thought maybe I could just print them all, assemble each one, and send them out fully built. But let's be real, I got a full-time job, a family, and not enough hours in the day. It was just too much for one person. So I came up with a better idea. I'll do the printing, sort every part into its own bag, kind of like a medieval themed Lego kit, and you get to build a unit yourself. You still get the magic of these pieces, the satisfaction of putting them together with your own hands. And yes, they look awesome in your desk. The siege units or the assembly kits are available now in my online store, ready to be part of your Age of Empires world outside of the screen. Now, quick heads up. These are not action figures, these are not toys, and even though they have survived curious little hands in my house, they are definitely not child-proof. So treat them like the tiny medieval masterpieces they are. If you're ready to build your own siege army, I put together a step-by-step video tutorials for each unit so you don't have to figure it out alone. In those videos, I'll walk you through the assembly, show off the moving features, and share a few tips I learned through all the trial and error. Thanks for being part of this project with me. If you love Age of Empires as much as I do, this is just the beginning.